Welcome back, everyone. We're going to continue on with our animation. So I've got the first word done, and then I've got the first syllable of the second word. I've got the M shape. So what I need to do is work out how long that M sound goes for. Okay, so I'm just going to play it back. All right, and the men sound seems to be kind of in here. Okay. It's actually really difficult to pinpoint. I'm going to move my range slider along a little bit, and we'll just rewind.
6 men came.
So the men sound is really quick. It starts on frame 24 for me, and it goes through, I think, only to about maybe 27, so it's only about 3 frames. Okay, so what I'm going to do is go from frame 24, where I've got my keyframes for the first syllable, and I'm going to go to 6. Okay, and I'm just going to open the mouth. So what I want to do is change the visine for the M shape. I want to turn that completely off, like that, and I'll key it. Now I also need to probably key, I would say probably this E visine just here. And what I want to do is go back to 24, which was where I keyframed the M sound last, and I'll keyframe E there. So this is kind of like E is keyed off, and then up here on 26 it's keyed back on. So I'm just going to go maybe to about there and key that. So we go from M to E, so meh, and then back here, probably on the next frame, maybe the frame after, so maybe a couple of frames after the sound in men, what we'll do is back that off a bit. So I'll just bring that back to about there. So that's sort of like the N shape, and we'll key that. So we go from the M sound to the E sound, the E. So m, e, n, men, like that. Okay. So what we're doing is keying them on and off. So the next sound is, the next word is came. So it's 6 men came to kill me one time. So the C in came starts just here on frame. The word actually starts on 30, but I'm going to go to the frame just before that. Alright, now this shape that I've got, which is the shape for N, for men, is actually, we can use that for the letter C as well. Okay, because we don't have a visine for C. Okay. So what we can do there is on frame 29, it's kind of a gap in between words. Now you don't have to make the mouth close. Okay, you can actually leave the mouth as it is. So what I'm going to do is just keyframe the same visine there again, like that, and then I'll go back up to 30 and I'll key it one more time. So what that's going to do is hold that mouth shape, and then what we do is go into the letter A, which is the same visine, just open, just increased. So what we need to do is now find where the A sound is. So what we'll do is I've just tapped my space bar to zoom in on this, and what we want to do is kind of go back a bit. So I'm listening for the A sound in the word came.
6 men came to kill.
So it's going to be sort of in here, probably. And I think it's in sort of just in here. So what we'll do is I'll just tap my spacebar to get back into my sliders. What I'm doing here is I'm increasing the value of this visine, so I get this came sort of shape. Now, it's sort of the mouth is actually kind of almost turned up a little bit, so it kind of looks a bit happy. What I want to do is kind of get this so that the mouth's a little bit kind of down in the corners. So I'm going to keyframe that there, and then I'm going to step back one frame. And what I want to do is look for the mouth frown just here. I'm going to key that on the previous frame, and then on frame 30, what I'm going to do is dial that up a little bit, and that should drop the corners of the mouth down. So it's looking a little bit, not sad, but not kind of insanely happy. So I'm just going to drop that down a little bit and keyframe that there, like that. So you can see there we can actually use kind of unrelated Visemes to change the existing Visemes to give them a little bit more flexibility. Now that A sound's actually going to go for a few frames. So I'm probably going to go to like maybe 32, and I'll key the frown, and I'll key the A sound. And then what we want to do is go back down to the letter M. So on the following frame, 33, I'm going to dial down the A and key it. I'm going to dial down the frown because he's kind of looking really unhappy there. So I'm going to dial that down and key that. And then I'm going to come back down to the M. Alright. And I'm going to key that, but I need to kind of do a previous keyframe for it. So I'll step back one and I'll key it at 0. And then I'll go back to 33 and I'll dial that so that he ends up sort of with that M shape, and I'll key that. Okay, so don't forget when you're changing, when you're bringing in a new slider for a shape, when you're shifting in between shapes, you have to remember to keyframe the new shape just before, you have to keyframe it off just before the frame that you're actually going to start moving the slider up again. If you don't, what will happen is all your sliders that you've used will basically be open or switched on all the way through the animation, and they'll kind of end up with this weird open mouth kind of frozen expression on their face. So you have to remember to keyframe the shapes when they're off, just before they start to move into the shape that they're going to make. So you've got a sort of an off frame and then the on frame for each slider as it moves. So now we've got the C, we've got the A, and then the M sounds for came. So if we play that whole thing back, we'll go right back to the beginning.
6 men came to kill me.
So you can see there we're starting to get that movement. Alright. Now you can kind of tweak it here and there, but it's kind of going to give you a very basic lip sync. And depending on the audio that you've got, you may find that it's very, very quick. This particular audio sequence I'm using is a very rapid audio sequence. So you're going to get a very chattery looking movement. Alright. Which isn't really, it doesn't really matter if that's the case, because obviously you've got to animate to the sequence. Alright, so let's continue on. Let's look for the next word. Okay, so the next word is here. It's the word to, and it's very short, probably 3 frames. Okay, so that came, the M shape in came needs to probably go through to, I would say, 35, just there. So I'm going to keyframe the M just on 35, and then on 36 I'm going to keyframe it off like that, so it goes back to normal. Then I need to find a Viseme for the letter T. Okay, and that's probably going to be a combination, I would say, of F and E. So on 35, so I'm going back a frame, I'm going to keyframe F and E, both of them, and then on 36, I'm going to dial them up and try and make a T shape. So I need a little bit of teeth, so I'm going to dial the F up a bit, and then I'm going to kind of dial up a little bit of that. All right. So the T shape and the S shape that we used originally are actually pretty close. Okay, so something like that, 2. Okay, so we'll keyframe both of those there. All right. And on the next frame, because the word 2 is only about 3 frames, I'm going to keyframe both of those there, and then I'm going to keyframe the OO viseme just here, OO. So I'll key that there. Then on the next frame, I'm going to increase the OO. Now you can see there, obviously that combination doesn't work because his teeth are exploding out through his mouth. And I need to drop back these two, like that. Okay, and now I'll key those two off, but I do need to kind of tweak the value of this one. So I don't want to go too far with it. So probably about there, I would say. So if you dial it up too high, you kind of start getting this weird bird beak look, and I don't want to go that far. I probably just want to go to about there, and we'll keyframe that. So I get came to, like that. Now the next word is kill, and it's going to start about 39, and it's probably going to go through to about 43, I would suggest. Now I'm basing this looking at this waveform here, okay, but you can keep playing through and trying to look for which frame is on, which frame number you're on when you hear a particular sound.
Tell me one time.
Oops.
Kill me one time. 6 men came to kill me one time. 6 men came to kill me one time. 6 men came to kill me one time. 6.
So the kill, the K's about here, the I's in here, and then the L is sort of across these few frames. So what I want to do is get onto the, from this shape here, I want to get onto a K. So I'm going to dial this one down again, like this, and I'll key that there. I'm not going to go all the way down, and I want probably the A and the E to increase again. Now just in case, I'm going to go back one frame and key it, and then bring it back up to the frame I want, and then key it there as well. So this is kind of a K look, okay, like a K sound. All right. Now the I sound is going to be sort of around about here, and that's going to be really just this shape expanded out a little bit. I'm going to keyframe this on frame 40 just to extend that shape a little bit, and then I'll dial this up. So that's going to be kind of like the I sounding kill, like that. And then I then need to get the L sound sort of just in here from about 41 through to maybe 43 or 44. So what I need to do now, first of all, this shape is going to kind of drop a little bit. It's probably just going to be this shape, but maybe closed a little bit more. So I've got that one there. So on 42, I'm just going to drop it back a little bit, like that, and that'll kind of give me an L shape, and I'll key that there. I need to find out how long that goes. Alright, so it's really difficult to hear. The kill sort of ends about here. And then we've got an M. We've got me in here. So I want to get an M shape in there. So I'm going to key that. I'll key that off. And I'll dial up the M shape just there. So I'll pop that back one frame and key it. And then bring it forward and dial it right up. Key that, and I've just got to make sure that there's no other Visemes on. So I'm going to make sure that's off, and I've still got a little bit of there, like that. So one of the things you'll find is the faster a character talks, the more difficult it is to get all the Visemes in. Now, what you want to do is, in that situation, is you want to try and get maybe the beginning of the word and maybe the middle of the word in. You don't always have to get the last Viseme in if the characters are talking a lot. Because what you'll find is that the middle Viseme, as it changes shape through the last sound in the word, and it translates into the first sound of the next word, that middle sound from the first word will kind of blend through that last Viseme into the first sound of the next word anyway. So if you don't animate that last Viseme in for every word, it doesn't really matter. You won't notice it, and it'll make the character look like he's talking a little bit more smoothly. So it's okay to miss a couple here and there. Okay, so he goes through into E and then continues on.